Evening and welcome to the Evening Review. My name is Olsen Kahiriri. Let's take a look at today's newspaper. Making a return to our studio is Mr. Olsen Kahiriri, who is going to share his thoughts on why he's going to run as an independent candidate in the upcoming by-election slated for later this year. Evening, sir, and welcome to the Evening Review once again.
Good evening, and thanks for having me.
You in conversation, you said that you are the incoming councillor for Katutura East. Let's have this conversation about you deciding to run as an independent candidate.
Oh, where did you get this news?
Well, we've seen it on your social media page.
Yeah, but so is that page so important?
No,
but anyway,
that's why you are here.
Anyway, we have to take the bulls by its horn. You have said it. But I think what we need to correct is the independent aspect of standing for Katutura East constituency.
Okay.
I have not yet decided that I'm going to stand as an independent candidate. Mm-hmm. Neither have I decided 100% that I'm going to stand for my political party into that constituency. So I have appointed a team of researchers who are currently on the ground doing the door-to-door basis of trying to establish what is the best alternative to or approach to be taken if one needs to stand as a councillor in our constituency. Because you must understand, I was born in Windhoek in 1978 in Katutura Hospital, just close to the Katutura East constituency that I'm talking about. So I grew up in Wambo location, Wambo 1727 is where I was roaming the streets. So I'm from the constituency. I grew up in there and went to school at the likes of Stem Barnabas, Emmanuel Shifidi, before I moved to Riopath at Dr. Lema High School. So I'm actually the person who has been roaming around those streets. So before we have come to a conclusion whether indeed I would stand as a candidate in that constituency, research should be conducted. So I have some students from the universities that I have hired that are going door to door and looking at the best alternative as to approach this issue. Because one must also understand that it's not only the political house or the political journey that determines what the people need. We must be able to be mindful to understand certain things. Currently, we know that we are coming from a regime of apartheid, and the 30 years that we have attained independence, we have not closed the gap of the division that our people experienced when we were young. Imagine, I was one of our house was the only Herero house in Wambo location, for that matter, before independence. And this division of scattered locations, we have not built a bridge to unite these people and say, we are one. So sometimes when you approach a political segment, you must be able to learn the dynamics and understand, would it be the right alternative to use a political house to be able to approach the constituency, or should you try and unite the people? And you can only unite Namibians at this moment in time when you undress yourself and find yourself in a middle ground. But we have not made that conclusion. And I've also engaged my political home concerning this issue, of which we are also in developmental discussions as to how we are going to approach this, because they are a very professional institution, of which I have to understand the decision, the final decision that they also we need to take.
Now I want to ask Commissar, because if you make this reference of political home, we've seen you in LPM clothing, we've seen you with, then you know that you have a pass to the PM. Just for the clarity, where does Commissar, where do you find yourself now?
Yeah, you see, one should understand, my political home was always there, and everybody knew about it. Because I'm at LPM, and we must understand, when LPM, we were rallying to stop the land conference and all these things. I was with the likes of Henny Saber, trying to stop that land conference not to take place. And the land, the people's, I cannot speak on behalf of the Landless People's Movement at this moment in time, because I'm not featuring in any structures of it. But what I can tell you is we have been there in the thick of things, and when we were establishing such an institution, everybody was in their own political homes. You know that Honorable Swarboy was in Swapo, Honorable Seibeb was in Swapo also, but due to the disagreements, it was a social movement which my brothers escalated to a political setup. And shortly after that, it's when I left PDM. So it was very clear where I was. Even when my brother was wrongly discriminated by Pharaoh at the State House, Hage Geingob, I was with him. And so we are brothers, but we don't need to make noise about it and show to the whole world where our loyalties lies. Because what brings us together is what we believe in, because we share a lot of history together. What do we share history together is we are speaking about the return of our land, because we have stolen land that was taken by these elites and the whites that has taken our land for quite a long time. It's historically factual that it happens in 1904. And we are talking about reparations of the Germans. And at the core of the whole issue is our passion to fight corruption, kleptomania, racketeering, which has become the thick of things in Namibia, because I believe that Namibian corruption is gazetted and institutionalized, because even you can see from the president's reaction when we speak about corruption, the guy is not serious. So it's a norm. It's capitalistically put into the Swapo manifesto. They don't even touch it. What they would go and amend is for candidates to stand as independent candidate or whatever and grind them and what, but they are not facing the real issues, which is the corruption that has destroyed this country. So that's what we believe in, isn't it? So this is why we still stick to our political homes for this moment in time, because people must also learn that political parties are not our mothers, they are not our fathers. And if political homes has diverted away from the aspirations of the people, they have distanced themselves from the wishes of the people, those are institutions that you must distance yourself from. You just leave. Because these things, this rhetoric that everybody is talking, my blood is what and what, how can your blood be a political party if it destroys your country? So first you must love your country before you love a political home. So what is so interesting in these movements that are destroying the future of this country? They don't deserve to be supported.
Commissar, on a national issue now, to make this discussion a bit broader, what were your initial reactions when you heard of the announcement that government was going to auction off fishing quotas? And do you think that government went about it the right way? Do you think that there could have been different ways to raise money for the COVID-19 pandemic?
What I can tell you is these money mongers are desperate for money. That's why they are auctioning everything that they can lay their hands on. You see, yesterday, Kawana was being quoted that now we know what the worth of our fishing industry is after we have auctioned it. But are we so desperate that we are auctioning the resources without creating jobs? Now you are sitting with money and the people are unemployed. Where are you going to take the money? Apparently to buy medication. So we never had money into our system. Yet we have a budget of 58 billion. What was our budget this year? So we don't have money. So we get very excited to raise 600 million. Around 600 million is the money they raised. Are we getting so excited of raising that small amount while we are having court cases in court that has to do with missing of 2.2 billion in the fishing industry? Who are you fooling? So these people, they want to get excited for raising unnecessary, for raising 600 million, but they have not created jobs. So this is not a sustainable process. I would understand that if they have created jobs and they have attained this much. Now, you see, people don't understand. When you say, I've auctioned fish, and that fish, I don't know when it will be harvested, so it's somewhere in the seabed. What if I take your money and tomorrow the resources are not there? Because these things they can change at any given time and they can disappear. The fish in the oceans. But you have already auctioned it. We will not have debts for people for promises that you are not sure whether you would probably harvest such amounts of fish. So this is a clear sign that our government, our leaders have run out of ideas. Tell me, ever since this pandemic started, what was so productive that this government did, apart from announcing the cases that is escalating on a daily basis? What is so productive? Is it the auctioning of the fishing quotas, the moratorium that went out, the advice that they got from the high panel? What was the advice? To work this issue on all the mining sectors. Now they run quickly to the sea because it's where they are good at stealing. That's why you see them auctioning again. Now who's going to control that? Because first of all, what our government should have done is they should have regained the trust from the Namibian citizen. You trust them, but I don't trust them. And trust me, 70% of the Namibians don't trust this government, because they cannot even account for the 30 years that they have been running this country, where those resources went to.
But Commissar, in November, government was given a mandate again to run. The current party has been given that mandate to run government for the next 5 years. Is it
the mandate that was challenged at the court, and the court says that there were a lot of irregularities? Is that mandate? Is it the mandate that you are asking about? If it's that mandate, the court made a quasi decision, because the Namibians are still questioning. The election process was not procedural, but yet you have a leader. I do labor cases on a day-to-day basis, and everything before you test whether this process was done correct, or you have a substantive right to even dismiss the person or what. You need to look at the two legs, which is the procedural and substantive fairness of the whole process. You come and say the election process was not procedural. There were irregularities, but the substance of it, the result stands. Is that the kind of president you're talking about? The whole world would know that then the whole process is a game. It's a useless game of which we have kept this government into power for unnecessary reasons, because if I was an honest person like the president ought to be, he should have stepped down. Because the election was financed by the fish rod. The court found that the election has been unprocedural. You understand? So you were driving a car that does not have a license to be driven on a road. And then you say the result of it should stand like that. And then when Kahiriri drives a car on a road which is not licensed, you take me to jail. I think, is that what you are telling me? This government, the people of Namibia went into the street and they went to vote these guys out. But we know what happened. The election was cooked. And that's what the court has established. The court has established that the process was not fair, it was not done. Because the standard, the cardinal pillars of any election, it must be free and fair. From the Supreme Court decision, was it fair?
Commissar, going back now, earlier to an earlier part of our conversation where you talked about the president and his stance on corruption. I mean, it would be fair to say that the fish rod matter is before the High Court, and before the court, and this matter is being heard. So obviously, one can safely say that the institutions in charge are sort of fighting for what is it, to make sure that the matter is settled in all fairness.
You see, what you must understand is, if the matter is at court, why did we auction the fish, the fishing quotas? If it's before court, there's no decision whether there was corruption in it or the process was flawed or not. Why are we changing the process today? We are changing the process because it's rotten to the core. So don't wait for court. You have already an answer. That's why you are changing. Only a small child at home who's mentally challenged, and I know a normal child would understand that this thing is rotten from the core, would understand that what government did to change these things is a clear sign that there have been flawedness in the process. It's where they have been financing their campaigns. This is like movies. And then when the president comes and been asked these questions, he goes on and challenges journalists and say, you are making a bad name about your country to the outsiders, to the world. And then you call me that is the head of the house who's making such statements. First of all, those who started stealing from the resources of this country are making a mockery of this country. It's not the journalist who's asking the question. The people that are stealing, that are protected by the very same person who's the president, a person who's agitated by a question. Agitated by a question. If you have not done anything wrong, why are you angry? If you have not stolen government money, why are you angry? The guy asked a very simple question. Why are you not recusing yourself from your lawyer? If your lawyer is in the papers, have alleged to have done these things. You were alleged, your ministers were alleged to have been involved in a fishing scandal, and you asked them to resign themselves. They did that. They were not found guilty. So where's your hypocrisy to come and protect your lawyer? By the way, I know that the lawyer should be the better person to protect the president, because every time he comes to the scene, he's making a mockery of himself. Now I would agree with Honorable Swarboy when he said we have a 78-year-old child in State House, because the things that he's doing is not making sense. How long are we going to keep this country being destroyed by a child who's in parliament, or in State House? How long? So that's why us young people who love this country, who were born here, understand, I was not born in DRC or which exile these guys went to. They always come and sing these phrases that we died for this country, but the guy is speaking. We died for this country. But how come you speak if you died? Anyway, these people are born in Luanda, wherever they found themselves. Today they come here and they say they want to be councillors in Katutura East. They don't even know what is Katutura East. Huh? This is our street. This is where we grow up. You know that Katutura East I'm talking about. The playing fields where we were playing, they were removed. They built churches there. The children cannot play anymore. There's no ground that young people can go to. And that constituency where I come from is a very fortunate constituency, is because it's where most of the stadiums in Windhoek are. You would see the soccer house is there, Sam Nujoma Stadium is there, the Youth Complex Stadium is there. Tigers has a potential of also building a stadium there. Emmanuel Shifidi has a big open land that you can also add a stadium there. And these are the things that we are going to look at. Because I have a master's degree in sports law and administration. So I must find alternative working grounds for these young people in that constituency.
Commissar, what do you make of the current state of politics in Namibia? We see a lot of the, what I can probably say is independent candidate euphoria. We've seen the birth of the Independent Patriots for Change, and now we've also seen the birth of the affirmative repositioning as a movement that is going to stand. Give me your views on the state of politics.
I don't want to be sarcastic about the Independent for Change or whatever. Because what is going to happen internally is not independent. The moment you group yourself into a bottle like this one, this water which is inside, they are not independent. They are corn into this bottle. So when you corn a person into a bottle, their rights of movement, the rights of this water flowing into a direction where it wants to go, are controlled. So as much as we are saying that independent for change, the only independent aspect that you can have in this country is when you exercise the Namibian Constitution. Freedom of association. The right to stand to wherever ground you want to rely on. And I'm very shocked that you guys seriously believe that SWAPO should run this country while they go and amend their constitution, which is violating the supreme law of this country. They are saying that if you are a member of SWAPO, you cannot stand as an independent candidate. That is in violation of the Namibian Constitution. And these are the people who are the custodian of that Constitution. They are running the government. Yet they are, I did not want to use the word, but they are busy using things that should not be used on that Constitution. They are pissing on it, to be honest. They shouldn't do that. They should be the champions of justice in this country. They should be the people that advocate the protection of the people, people's rights. So this a lot of, you see, people are fed up. And the political parties that are in this country, most of them, have taken the trust that people has in political movements. And the young people are actually exercising their right and saying, maybe the rotten aspect of all these problems could be the political homes we are. That's why we are standing on our own and see how we can unite our people and move it forward. Because all these people, all of them, most of these guys who are all even running these political parties, they are even cloning on to power. They are the one challenging SWAPO, they don't do what, but when you come internally, when candidates in their own movements wants to stand, you'll be shocked to hear and uncover what is happening on the ground. These are just jokes that is going on. And I can see, you see, the good thing that I've experienced at this moment is we have awakened the consciousness of the young people. Because positions like Katutura East constituency is occupied today by a person who's even 80, same age as the president of the country. Old people running a constituency. Imagine problems of city of Windhoek coming to that person who's old. You see, a person who has reached the age of 70 or 60, for that matter, must be taken care of the government. Now, these are the very same people who are leading us, while we should take care of them. That's why government has made priorities to take care of those old people. Now, imagine, when you are born, you are a child, you take decisions of kids, of children. You understand? That's why government protects you up until you reach the age of 16. You are under the care of the government because you must go to school. You cannot make informed decision on your own behalf. And when you reach 60, government says you are vulnerable. We must protect you because decisions that you are making is not informed. So we must protect you. Nobody must touch you. You don't stand in queues. Now you have a pensioner in State House. With the same analogy, he's taking care of the other old people, but he cannot be taken care of. It's high time we start removing these dead people from State House, and then we start putting in young people. Because these people cannot even go on Google. They cannot even do research. They are old, they are tired. And the problem is us young people. Registration has started. People don't even go out and get their cards. The day of election will come. You will see old people standing in those queues, but young people are in the street. They don't go and exercise that process. But tomorrow, it's them who are unemployed. It's them who are suffering. Young people must also start getting serious in this country. You are the majority in the country. You don't even go and vote and remove these pensioners. Because pensioners will take care of each other. And that's what they're doing. So young people, I challenge the young people to go out in Katutura East and start registering and vote for a person who's capable to change the constituency and move it forward. And this person is me.
Commissar, coming back to Katutura East, what are your aspirations for the constituency? Should you be elected to serve as councillor? What are the immediate things that you want to start addressing?
You see, that constituency is blessed with our traditional schools. Being it Stembarnapas, the Namutoni, these schools. What I want to try and establish is a peer-to-peer working group, whereby each school will be represented by a certain member, and I will create a committee whereby these schools will exchange school programs. We used to do these school programs because these school programs will escalate competition. And competition, when you speak about education, competition is primary. So I want us to have an inter-school competitions on academic, sports, and all these angles. On that basis, you would increase the relationship within this aspect. And then once you increase the performance of this school, our children currently, some of them are taken to other constituencies to go to school, while they can walk straight to school. I used to walk, how many kilometers? 8 kilometers a day to go to school. But now we cannot do that because these schools that are surrounding us are so weak. Because those are the things I want to focus on. Secondly, I want to make sure that we have a library in the constituency, because there was one at Katutura Youth Complex. You see, this is a fortunate aspect of this constituency. It's where the Katutura Youth Complex is. And government is not utilizing these things to its maximum capacity. The tennis courts that are there, it's out of fashion. The boxing gym that is created there is not at the highest level. These are the things, because I'm a guru into those issues. I will have to seek funding to have those institutions being improved. And one important aspect is we are fortunate that we have the complex of our handiwork. here, the panel beaters, the guy who are innovative. I think we did not give them enough attention. And I think with my working environment and the group that are working for me now at this moment to try and find a lasting solution to these things, I think we'll come up with a good plan of which these people must be financed, because what they are doing is good work, but they need funding. They need to be escalated to a higher level, of which, you see, what our people don't understand is the whites are controlling the economy of this country. How are they controlling it? When we take our children to VTC, Vocational Training Center, is only when our children could not make it to universities. This is the culture that must change. You see, the white people go to the northern industry, go to Prosperita, go to southern industry. It's white people's business. And their children are growing into those cultures. They are only sent in South Africa to learn vocational training center and come and take over the business. We are not prioritizing on those things. So we are having a fortunate in our constituency that we have such a workshop that we can improve on and encourage other young people from the vocational training center to come and be intakes in those areas. So I would want to have a good working relationship with the whole community into that aspect. And when you see from that area, when you just move over across the road, is where these transport guys are suffering. You have seen how they grab bags there and trying to organize themselves into that aspect. They don't have proper facilities. They are using those bushes to entertain themselves. You see, and just across the road, you have the multi-billion-dollar office of the bourgeoisies, the people who we entrusted to run this country, who are, everybody knows, they are not doing a good job. Who on the other side is the hospital I was talking about. So these are the challenges. This multi-billion-dollar building, we cannot have big buildings in our constituency and we don't benefit from that. Only municipality will benefit. So how about us, the constituency? We have this controversial NFA house. They are in Katutura East with millions and millions of dollars that they are boasting about. Well, they must also be able to bring back in the constituency. And if those guys don't listen to the Namibian laws, I think they will, once I become a councillor, they will have to remove their office and remove it out of our constituency and take it to Zurich or wherever. But the moment they are in Katutura East, they must dance to the tunes of the person who's in charge, who will be the councillor in that constituency, will be me. So I know there's no tricks that they can tell me that I do not know in football. So they will also have to pump a lot of money into the constituency. What do we get out of these people if they are in our constituency? So basically, in short, I want to make the constituency an attractive sports area because we have the potential. And I want to work with these schools in this constituency who has sports stadiums, how we can improve these sports stadiums in order to accommodate the likes of Orlando Pirates who do not even have stadiums to train at. So these are the working environment that I want to build in and you see, you have the likes of the shops or old age shops that we traditionally know, the Pikeways, the what, the Grootwengels area. I think we must find a better way of moving into that or improving that. You see, even the bus stop that is in front of the soccer house, that thing is not even been taken care of. It's not improved. It's still the old bus stop that we know. And that road does not have a name. I have already considered that street to be pushed to become Robbie Savage Street. Our icon, the guy who taught us to be patriotic to this country. The guy was traveling with a Namibian national team because that street is just in front of the soccer house. We must build a statue for that guy and that street must belong to him. So there are a lot of things that I can work, that I will be working on. And most importantly, We must try and unite the people in these constituencies. You see, we have taken over the country and we have split these people more. You see, this constituency, if I can just put it to you a bit, there's a police camp, there's Khemiende, and there's Wambo location, and then Shandumbala. Namalokazi this side. How do you unite a scattered location like that? And that constituency was cut that way by the ruling party purposely to divide the people. And that is the apartheid system, which is divide and rule. How do you unite these people? So I will have to find a common ground on how I'm going to try and unite these people in that constituency.
Thank you very much for joining us, Commissar.
Thank you for having me.
Dear invited guest, the Northern SME Expo team is aware of the current restrictions imposed on the country by Honorable President Hage Geingob as from the 12th of August 2020. However, we have developed a system that we can use while adhering to the new regulations. Our team will provide you with a ticket that contains details of the media launch as well as a timestamp at which your presence is required. As per new regulations, only 10 individuals will be present in the media hall as per timestamp indicated on the ticket. Thank you for understanding and for your cooperation. We are excited to see you on Friday. For any queries, please contact Nangula Nashandi on 081 4769 304.
This event is proudly brought to you by Chico Group of Companies.